Oliver Sheridan is an American professional basketball player in Eastern Europe. He now plays for Košarkaš Sutomor club in Montenegro. He recently released his book entitled Blood, Sweat, and Tears, The Overseas Basketball Experience, and he's right here with us today on Conoscere TV to present his literary work. Heath, welcome to Conoscere TV. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Of course, thanks for having me.
So I would start, if you agree, by introducing your book and deepen it a little bit more. What is Blood, Sweat, and Tears about, please?
Generally speaking, Blood, Sweat, and Tears kind of just goes over my story, playing basketball, right, from high school to where I'm at now, playing professionally and over the course of my career. And then it also has, I guess, little things that I learned along the way that I wish I had known when I started.
Okay. And why did you choose this title for your book, and how are these words related to your story?
Yeah, so Blood, Sweat, and Tears for me kind of just summarizes my career as a whole. I mean, if you break it down, to get to where I'm at least for me, it took each of these, I guess you could say. I mean, over the course of my career, I've broken well over 20 bones. I've dislocated my shoulder. I've hyperextended several joints. I mean, just the way I had to play to get noticed required a lot of blood and obviously sweat. I mean, I've trained for thousands and thousands of hours, and anybody that knows me knows that when I'm in a workout, I don't leave anything on the table. Like I go for it. And then tears, I mean, with a goal this big, in anything that you're passionate about is going to require some emotional turmoil, I guess you could say, right? I mean, I've been cut from teams. I've lost opportunities because of things that were out of my control. A lot of things that are tough, but that kind of build upon it. So for me, Blood, Sweat, and Tears is just the most condensed summary of the book, I guess you could say.
It's an up and down, like everything.
Exactly.
When did the need to write down this story came?
So actually, the need came for me before I had ever even played in a professional game. I mean, I like you said, I played college basketball, but only for a year before I went overseas. So I wasn't a standout player. I didn't have recruiters knocking on my door or anything like that. So it was really up to me to go and find an opportunity for myself. And to be honest, I didn't really know where to start. So I started out and just looked for any books, any podcasts, anything on social media for anybody that had kind of gone through it that could kind of guide me along the way. And I couldn't find anything, at least at the time. This was 4 or 5 years ago. I couldn't find anything. So it was then that I kind of decided once I made it, that I would write something, at least for somebody in my situation, give them some pointers so that they'd know at least where to start. And honestly, I think it accomplishes that. I think that anybody that read it would start maybe a few months or a year ahead of where I was at that point. So that was really the goal behind it.
Was it difficult to write down your own story and retrace your steps in the basketball?
I think it would have been if I had waited until the end and tried to remember everything in the order in which everything happened. But luckily, I actually started writing it towards the beginning. I think it was either during my second season in Argentina or my season in Dominican Republic. And I just added on to it. The tricky part for me, because I wanted to publish it before I finished my career. So the tricky part for me was kind of the ending, right? And I think there was a certain level of guesswork involved. I ended up guessing how my career was going to end, and it looks like it's actually not going to end that way. So yeah, that was really the hard part, but it was a work in progress. I've been working on it for a year, so it wasn't too hard.
Great.
That, yeah.
So we'll talk about you and your book, but I would like to know, what could this book offer to the reader? I mean, why should anybody buy the book?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question.
Yeah, I know.
And yeah, anybody that looks at the cover of the book, right, can kind of guess who the target audience is, right? But really, I tried to write in a way that could be applicable universally. Like I've always believed that there can be something that can be taken away from any success story, and there can be a lesson learned from from every struggle. I mean, I watch videos and read articles about Conor McGregor, not because I want to be a fighter, but because I think that there's something of value I can take from his story and apply to my goals. So honestly, I think my situation, my story is maybe a little bit more relevant, a little bit more relatable for everyday people. Because, I mean, look at me. I don't look like a basketball player, right? I've been the shortest player on almost every team since high school. I'm genetically not really predisposed to be an athlete in any way, right? And looking back on my career, I've had pretty much any struggle and any setback you can imagine. So that's not just relatable to basketball players or even athletes. I mean, think a lot of people at some point have been told by somebody that they weren't good enough, right? Maybe by somebody they respected or trusted. I think everybody at some point has felt like their abilities and their skills didn't measure up to their aspirations, right? And so I think my goal and my hope is that anybody reading this can take away a principle that it doesn't matter who you are, right? It doesn't matter what your goal is. If you want it bad enough, you'll make it happen, right? And I mean, looking back on my career, I really never, my goal was that I wouldn't ever look back on my career with an excuse, right? I think at the end of the day, it's not about what you're given, it's about what you make with what you've got. And I think that's applicable in any aspect of life for sure.
Which is a wonderful message in your book. I would like to ask you to send the message to your readers directly now that you have the chance to.
Yeah, I mean, so for anybody reading it, and I mean, whether you're starting a basketball career or not, I mean, I think really what I would want to tell you is to just pick a goal, define a goal, and just keep your feet moving. I mean, no matter what it is, you've got to make efforts every day to reach whatever you want to do. I think if you do that, you'll be successful for sure.
Heath, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming here, and best luck with your book out there.
Of course, thank you very much.
The motto is never give up. Skill is developed through hours of practice. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, the author says. Blood, Sweat, and Tears is now available in bookstores and digital platforms. It's a publication by Eurobox.